of diversity, a member of the same family, living in the same house, but stay in different rooms. And it is important that we recognize that we have no other country but this one. So we better be committed to it, not for the sake of our own self-aggrandizement. Our commitment to the values, the creed of dedication, patriotism, and commitment to the value of this country. It is extremely important that we have a change of mindset for the sake of our country. Not for us, but for our children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
Hello, good afternoon, and you're welcome. My name is Princess Kessy. This is the weekly bulletin. Now, these were the words of your dear president yesterday. The amazing thing is that he is still willing, to work with every other person, regardless of what other people are feeling. Or I love the fact that he did say that we are members of one family. Yes, that word rings a bell. We are members of one family, and this were actually his word, meaning he's willing to work with others as well. Now, today on the weekly bulletin, of course, as usual, we used to do the highlight of the week, but because this is a very topical issue, we're going to stick with this and a few others on the show today. And let's not forget that yesterday the Supreme Court was agog a lot of people, and we saw the verdict. A lot of people. Some are happy, some are frowning, while some are still trying to regain from that verdict. You're welcome, and I have with me on the show today Honorable Rez Tehimba Gyadu. Good afternoon, sir. He is a political analyst and he's going to be dissecting these issues with me today. Of course, I'm going to have Comrade Abimaku Monday, Sunday as well on the show pretty soon. And you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers.
Good afternoon. You're welcome. So it's a quick one. Yesterday, we saw that a verdict at the Supreme Court. Like I did say, they are mixed reaction to that verdict. But how do you feel? What's your take on this verdict? But before that, let's start from the process so far. We talk about the electoral process, the tribunal issues, and then at the end, the verdict at the Supreme Court. Now, what's your take on this?
Yeah, Kessy, thank you. To some of us who have been who have followed political events in Nigeria very keenly in the last 24 years or so, since the democratic era of this 21st century, we have followed it in such a way, and we understand the terrain to a large extent. And we know that to some of us, the judgment of yesterday by the Supreme Court justices didn't come to us as a surprise, and neither did the election also come to us as a surprise. Prior to the judgment, there came. Now, moving towards election, I want us to backtrack and check what had happened in 2019 prior to me to 2023, where elections had happened in the past, and the same apart from President Tinubu, the same people that contested this election were on the ballot or were running mates to politicians, like Peter Obi was running mate to Atiku Abubakar, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Peter Obi, and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso were in the same camp, and they ran against former President Muhammadu Buhari, and they didn't make it. President Buhari won it then, and so the same people now splitted into different camps and wanted to get the result. But let me tell you that when APC wanted to win election in 2015, they deliberately did something very definite and deliberate in 2013. They had to collapse all the entire structures of political parties and became one. In this case, people had the opportunity of aligning as opposition. If you saw what the votes counted at the end of the day, the opposition parties got about 13 to 14 million votes, while President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had about 8.7 million votes, meaning that if the opposition had come together as a team, as a bloc, there was just no way APC would have won election. But they split it, and which was an advantage to the ruling party. These were the facts that we saw. Now, apart from the split, the 5 governors again in PDP and from the main opposition party also splitted again. One of them worked deliberately in the favor of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some worked against President Tinubu, but did not work for the party that came second, meaning that they were rather pulling down the possibilities of the major opposition party winning the presidency. That was very typical and common of what was to be expected. For those who didn't see it coming, some of us actually saw it coming. We had analyzed the election, and I told people who needed to listen. Now check what the Supreme Court eventually said and what Court of Appeal pre-ultimate had said in the past. Out of 12 justices, not one went on the side of the opposition, meaning that the opposition did not argue their case in the best way possible. They were either lazy, I'm sorry to use this word, but maybe I am only feeling that way. They were not very thorough enough, I'll say this, because that didn't give them the right attitude. And what came up yesterday was expected. And just like the president said, he has said one of the best statements, and then that statement by a man in his own position will make. We're one family, but we're living in different rooms, which is a statement of fact. We are different political parties, but Nigeria is our state. This country is the only one that we have. So it is only proper that now that the Supreme Court justices have made a pronouncement that is categorical and is factual to some of us who monitor the election. That was my role. I monitored the election for the president. We planned it and I monitored it in my geopolitical zone, which is North Central Nigeria. We knew that what was coming there. My state, particularly benefit, we won by very slim margin, 2,000 votes. That was not smart one, because knowing the peculiarities and how voters vote from our own end are going to move on the Muslim ticket that was debated and heated up in the polity and the country, we knew that we were up there, right? But God's so kind. I'm very proud and happy to say that our party won at the end of the day. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu won Benue. And so it is something that today we're priding ourselves very proudly that we deliver the president in our own state. So it's something not to take for granted, that it's something that is what makes the case today. Now, when the history of Nigeria is made, particularly 2023 election, those were some of the highlights that were coming up. Thank you very much. That's my take. Basically.
And talking about your party winning, and do you think there's something your oppositions did not do right? From what you just said, now they were lazy or something. So what is it you think that they actually did not get right, that actually gave you people the victory from the very beginning, the tribunal time, and even the election?
Well, now I must say that I'm not very good at the issues of jurisprudence, issues to do with legal stuff, because I'm not very vast at that. But I know for a fact about stuff to do with politics. I'm actually well informed by the grace of God. But what I said basically is that instead of the opposition uniting and coming as a bloc, as one formidable force to fight the ruling party and bring them down, which was what APC did in the past when they had to swallow their egos, and CPC and ACN and ABGA, part of ABGA and part of PDP, G5 collapsed and formed a political party. And were able to take on the ruling party then, PDP, and they chased them out of power in 2015. PDP failed, and the other opposition party failed to do a similar thing in order to give APC a proper right, that by today APC would have been history in terms of winning the presidency. I must say the truth. So, but they were the ones that also helped making APC's case get better. So now the APC has consolidated. You know what that's going to be. Where areas where mistakes were made or had happened that would have fixed ordinarily will be done today, so that to avert another calamity that might come in terms of political calamity and electoral losses that will come in against APC in the next election. So it's now an opportunity for APC to sit back and take deliberate stock and do some things right, so that in an event where they failed in certain instances, those instances will be corrected and the right things will be done, so that to give it an edge again and to make it last in power. Basically, that's what everybody who is in the political party is looking forward to, seeing that you are seated there and your party wins the election, so that we keep you guys afloat. And so I think that's just basically it. Yes, that's the way I look at it.
And then also we saw that from people, we saw yesterday that the one of the legal counsel for LP did say that a lot of the issues presented were swept under the carpet, and now this is the influence of the president already being in power. Do you share the same opinion? Sincerely.
I don't share this opinion. I don't know why people make this kind of sweeping statement, but I feel it's sweeping in the sense that we have been in this country where we saw governors lose election, even though they were in power. Now, last time when President Buhari had contested election in the past, go and check. There were very stiff judgments that were actually realized upon. At the end of every judgment, in every instance that he went to court, he had some justices on his side, where justices or three, they were always on his side. But in this case, the opposition, out of 12 justices, not one spoke in their favor. That's to show that this thing is not an accident. It is not a mistake. It's not because President Tinubu is in power. Jonathan Yaradua was in power, but out of 7 Supreme Court justices, 3 were on the side of President Muhammadu Buhari, then General Buhari when he was contesting elections, and 4 were on the side of President Yaradua. So this thing is nothing new. Like in your own case, not one person, you have a justice of the Supreme Court on your own side, and you're laying claim to the fact that it is President Tinubu was sworn in. I mean, I don't understand this kind of joke. To me, I feel it's a total joke. And these are people that know for a fact that one thing, they didn't bring a proper case to court. Now you are going into a case for some of us who are laymen, because we know for a fact that if you are going to an election under litigations and you're going to issues of litigation, it is only proper that the people that are going to argue your case and prove very clearly that this was what happened on the election day, is that the polling agents who monitor the election on the polling unit. Elections are won on the polling unit, not on the ward level or state level. These are facts that are very, very open to everyone who understands issues about elections and should know. For people who are very experienced and these lawyers who are very high up there, senior advocates of Nigeria, they ought to know the situations and how and those to use an election. While we were going into election, I remember as members of the election planning and monitoring team, where we had monitored elections for past president and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, director then, Honorable Minister Barrister Rajiv Fashola, SAN, who tell us that, look, the most important person on election day is the polling agent. He's the one that even after elections, he's the one that is called upon in court to come and give testimony, meaning that he was already abreast with the fact that this is how the process is done. Now, for lawyers who have been in court and didn't know that these were people that need you remember the Supreme Court made that statement that the people that needed to come out and tell the courts that this was what happened on a polling unit, not to rely on a third party, but the people who witnessed it firsthand, which are polling agents. These guys were into play. Come and bear testimony and say that, look, on the polling unit A, this was what happened. And what happens again after elections is that people are given their result sheets. These duplicates are there for you to have as your own and signed, and you hold it. And while you are saying your election is rigged, you are coming up because exactly and showing that at this polling unit A, I pulled this, but this was what was announced. It makes it clear for everybody who has ears to understand and hear, and you feel it in your ears. These were means and ways that the past President Muhammadu Buhari had proven in the past and shown clearly how elections were done in other countries. These people did not even request for forensic experts to come in and check and analyze votes. In an event they felt their votes were shortchanged. They didn't come with any of those. They were bringing mathematicians and all manner of high-profile people to come and speak on behalf, and not people who had very linked to the election that would have given statements and testimonies that would have counted on the day of judgment, such as that, the one that took place yesterday. So it becomes very easy, but it becomes so cheap for those who have words to say or argue on everything that has happened. A group of people are such that even when you tell them you are hungry, you are the one that is hungry and there's no food in your tummy, they will still not see that you are hungry. They will say that you are beaten enough, even though they didn't see you with food. So some of these things we understand very clearly. For those who are going to court, they are going to court with the reasons that they want to win election. But one thing that comes to mind, and one thing that is clear and certain, is that only one person will win an election, which is a race. It is a race that is coming up, but only one person will win and go and take the trophy. So the person that won the trophy today is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is not to say that somebody else will not win tomorrow. I remember that President Jonathan had won an election, but then lost again on the next. So it is only for opposition now to see how they also prepare themselves, put their houses in order, and see how they can come again as a formidable force and come and see how to give APC a run for their money. APC as a party, we need a very viable opposition that will put APC on check so that we won't be
I was going to come
only
to
picking
that
up.
because I know that for a government to be active or more active, you need a very strong opposition as well. Well, recall the time of Saraki as well at the Eighth Assembly. These were some of the issues, and then we had a very active three arms of government. Unlike now that everybody it's one-sided. And then also let's not forget that the PDP as well. We know that after the verdict, we actually expected that, of course, aggrieved party or parties there will be calls or talks from different quarters. So it's not unexpected as also the PDP is now saying that Apex Court violated constitution, condoned forgery. Now, this is coming from PDP, and we saw that on one of the major headlines this morning, sir.
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly. What did you say? That what happened?
Now, the PDP as well is saying that the Apex Court violated the constitution and that they also condoned forgery. This is coming from PDP, and we saw that on some of the major papers this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it is most unfortunate if by today, after the pronouncement from the Supreme Court justices, and somebody else is feeling very hot and very very is not very down with the number of people as regards what the justices of the Supreme Court said in a court case that happened yesterday, then it's rather unfortunate. I don't understand why 7 justices will not sit to the latter of what was presented to them. Now, for you to prove a case that's being forged, which is a criminal case, you need, it's not an ordinary statement you come to bear to prove a case of forgery. Even though I'm not very good with issues to do with jurisprudence, I know for a fact that for you to prove that somebody has actually forged a document or what somebody is doing is actually forged, you need extra energy. Now, in this case, I don't understand how that was going to be happening at the highest court where there's hardly time for them to go and start doing that. Mikey, what we are on is not a normal court process, it's the electoral process, which gives you time frame of dealing with it. It is obviously not in the making of the Supreme Court that these people would have come there and be arguing cases and trying to present new evidence and means and ways to show that to back up their cases. No, it is not possible. Now, you can't come up with such an allegation and say that the people are backing up forgery. I don't think it was proper. But you see, it is not also strange to some of us that because a group of people have decided that they will never agree to anything, even when they lost election, but they didn't agree to it, and they, instead of them being better losers and accepting that they lost an election, and sitting down to take stock and see that, look here, we erred here, we didn't do it right here. These were places where we had. You can do an assessment of yourself and see where you went wrong, see where you took the wrong steps. In this case, the opposition party, I don't think they are seeing it that way. But you mentioned something about Saraki. Let me correct an impression here that I said about former Senate President Saraki. Saraki was a member of the opposition, of the ruling party, APC then, but he fought in-house. It wasn't because they had an issue to do with liberalization or an issue to do with them standing on their own and trying to see how they put the government on check. Now, one of the things a legislative arm of government should do with the executive is to see how they give dividends of democracy. It's not that for every good intention and for every good channel of government or policy of government, you deliberately fight it so that you shouldn't be seen as a rubber stamp. I don't think that would be such an idea. I think what needed to have Sarakit would have done them because the person that suffered the most was a common man like us who were not in not privy to things of government, and we had to suffer consequences because there was a disagreement.
Hold that thought. Well, this is Comrade Abimaku Monday, a public research fellow and, of course, a public commentator. Good morning, sir, and you're welcome. Comrade Monday, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think we can he can hear us. Hello, sir. Okay, sir. Sorry, continue.
And so thank you. So when you mentioned Senator Bukola Saraki on issues of contemporary politics, I don't think he actually posed the highest number of margin as regards that they'll give him. For some of us who are good students of politics, we remember that he did the best thing for us. That's the idea of arms of government separation of power. Is not that for every good intention of the executive you shit it down just because to show that you are not a rubber stamp. I think I will not agree with such a notion or such line of thought that people would think that because these ones are cooperating and seeing that people benefit from the dividends of democracy, so therefore they're not doing the right thing. I think I disagree totally. What is happening is that you need to cooperate, give people a kind of government and governance that is expected to reach to the grassroots and the people will benefit. Because let me tell you the truth about it is that the president and the senate president would not directly suffer when events are not going right in the country. What is intended to be given to people, if the National Assembly frustrates it so that it shouldn't pass, there's nothing the executive can do, particularly as we run a democracy where you need arms of government to give approvals for the executive to go and run. And they're balancing each other and looking after each other's back. So we just need the people who can cooperate and be responsible in their politicking, and so that the dividends of democracy was promised during the elections, during the primaries, during before the election period, would actually reach the people, because that was a promise made, so there should be a promise kept. But the only way this promises can be kept.
For us, sir, we are journalists. For instance, I'm a journalist, and talk is cheap. We do not buy
Yeah.
talk. For me, as a
Mm,
media practitioner, we've seen over
mm.
the years where politicians will come and say they will do A and B, and when they come into power, it's something else we see. That is another question, sir. But would you say that the 2023 election is a way forward for Nigeria right now?
Yeah.
Looking at it out.
No, let me say that we're not yet there, but it's a process that is as much as possible is better than the previous. Mark you where a president who is serving today loses election in his own home state where he has resident for over 20 years, where he had governed for 8 years. It is not something you take for granted. And the sitting president losing in his own home, where it is traditionally a stronghold of the party, know that democracy is actually evolving. It's a process that is ongoing. It is making its work in progress. Eventually, and what the Electoral Act and INEC is trying to do very much, and we are seeing the dividends of it, is that they're trying as much as possible to reduce human interference in the election process. And so, what is happening eventually is that credibility is getting to elections, and even if most people don't see it, some of us are seeing it, because what used to be in the past, where you carry ballot papers and go and hide somewhere and stuffing it because you are rigging election in an area where you have gotten acceptability. Mark you, elections are generally rigged in areas where you have acceptability, where you've been accepted. That's where you have the latitude and the opportunity to go there and stuff ballot boxes and ballot papers. Today, once you touch a ballot paper, you want to stuff it, and an alarm is raised, mark you, such a result will not be taken. And so there are a lot of development that has come into play now. And we have made progress. We are no longer there. We have not reached the main goal yet, but we're making progress consciously. Once democracy comes to play a number of times more ahead, you find out that we'll come out better. Mark you, America, that is the modern of democracy for some of us. And we're taking a cue from just last election. A former president, Donald Trump, had accused the system of rigging. So some of these things are not necessarily a function of failure, basically, but because we are human, and sometimes when you lose, you might tend to not accept the process, maybe because you're coming with the intentions of going to even mark you. Like I said earlier, only one person can win a race such as that. Only one, not two, because the position is just for one person at the material time. One person will be occupying that office at the period that is being given at time stage. So basically, I think we're making progress and we are moving in the right direction. And we can get there as time goes on. Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is the weekly bulletin, and the focus today is on the verdict. Yesterday, there was a major, verdict that Nigerians are still reacting to, while some are brooding, some are happy, others are just, still trying to overcome. Like PDP did describe the judgment as shocking. Now, I have Comrade Abimoko with us, but I'm going to go on a quick break. When we return, Comrade will be joining us on the discussion as well. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The Next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.
Sides to a story. Is there anything like good or bad? Do we have advantages or disadvantages? Is there a right or wrong? This is Crossfire on SRTV.
Hello viewers, you're welcome back from that quick break. This is the weekly bulletin. Like I said earlier, we'll focus on the verdict. And I have with me here Comrade Abimanko Monday. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear us? Good afternoon, sir. Okay, I think your network is, or you need to unmute your sound. Yes, sir. You need to unmute your sound so we can hear you clearly. Comrade, you need to unmute the sound. Okay, while he's doing that, Honorable Rex, let's talk about, Comrade, can you hear me now? Okay, your sound is muted, Comrade. You need to unmute your sound. That is why we can't hear you from here. You need to unmute the sound. Honorable, now looking at the election, the 2023 election, we know that Nigerians voted along ethnic and religious background. This is the way I see it, and how can we change that so that the path, for the sake of the future, how can we change the fact that a lot of people, from what I saw as a journalist, what I observed, people are still voting, based on ethnicity, religion, and all that. So what can be done?
I think, Kessy, I want to believe that, and by the grace of God, we have obviously at the verge of overcoming issues to do with religion into politics. Basically, I think we have actually broken the jinx by virtue of what happened here in the last election. Muslim president ticket, President Tinubu and Vice President President being two Muslims but one election. I think we are gravitating gradually to a position where people won't be looking at issues of religion, and they will put it at the back that religion should be kept somewhere as well, governance will be kept on another. This is clear to the fact that it is now obvious to most of us who we ultimately this election, we're going to leave issues to do with religion. Now, if President Tinubu had been one of the best brains behind APC, and he came up with tactics and strategies to win election, and he also desires to contest election and is within his right, as the case will be, and is a Muslim, let it not be used against him. And we know, trying to get votes, and he needed to do what he aligned with Takashi Shatima to see that we get another one, which is typical from the area where you see that you're going to get most of the people have a religion that they practice. One try to just rub their back so that they understand that look, you are not undermining anybody else whatsoever. I know some of us who come from a position of strength, and we know that those advantages play on. And for those people who want to run with elections, play those kind of game. But I know for a fact that because this has happened now, people had thought it was impossible, it's never going to be there. We're so balkanized that religion has so scattered us. But today, let me tell you that this has been reduced to the barest minimum. If elections are conducted today and Kashim Shettima is on the ballot like it is now, most Christian states will not be too angry with the present um, composition that is now available. That because President Tinubu is a Muslim and Kashim Shettima is a Muslim, and so these two Muslim tickets will not be flying. This will fly better, and people will appreciate the situation that is happening now. Because these are people that have shown clearly that they have separated religion from governance, and they are proving it by the day, and they are moving, and we are seeing it. And so I think that we have come to a stage or a position where issues of religion are gradually going to be knocked off, and so that people will not be thinking this is not a church thing. This is not. It is not an exercise that people were thinking is purely this is about religion. It's about who should lead us and who has the capacity and the temperament to lead us in the right direction and has proven in the past. Because President Tinubu had proven as governor, he's a man who has made people, who has graduated people from boys to men. And such a man who has come up with a template today, which Lagos was used as a yardstick for measuring his competences and expertise in grooming people, where he has made Lagos to the delight of everyone. And today, Lagos is a darling to all of us who is desiring and wishing to be in Lagos to do one transaction or the other. It is courtesy of the fact that the man who is very focused, who has foresighted, had governed Lagos and had done it well, and throughout his own younger ones that succeeded indeed according to the master plan that they had laid today. Dividends and what you are seeing today is a function of the fact that the man had prepared the past. And today they are benefiting from it. So it's one of the things that will matter most people is that we have the right foundations to dwell on and move. And the right people who are coming on board. Do they have what it takes to deliver? Nigeria is for all of us, regardless of the religion. There are some people who do not believe in anything in religion. Some feel that there's nothing like God that does exist. But those people also have a right to what they are thinking is, basically, even though we might not agree with them. But that's their own thinking. That's the position they've chosen to take. And so we also will respect them and walk away and leave them in their own situation. As a Christian that I am, we can only pray for such people that God should touch them in their hearts and open the ways. Bible teaching us shows us that it's only God that also makes you to even know Him more. Even. So for those of us who are privileged and understand this better than those who do not know, the only proper that they also come into realization. But we must know for a fact that we are who we are not because we made it ourselves. I am a Christian not because I deliberately calculated being a Christian. I'm a Christian purely of the fact that where I was born. My father had always told me this. My son, if I had given birth to you in Sokoto, 90% chances are that you would have been a Muslim. So I am not a Christian by design. I'm not a Christian because I deliberately chose to be a Christian. I'm a Christian because based on the geographical location where I was given birth to, it was just very likely that would be a Christian. So we must understand that these are things that must not allow them to separate us, but they must use every ground possible to maintain and say that look, we build a nation where all of us will be happy to stay and our children will be happy to stay. Our children's children will be proud of our roles that we have played as parents and as people who had come before them. That is, to me personally, that's the way I look at things, and I look at it very differently and dispassionately. That people who honestly toe my line, not that I'm asking everybody to do it, but I mean, it will help us better now. I look forward to better times where these issues of religion will be gradually taking the back seat and we'll be making consideration of better things and not just issues about religion. Thank you.
Because I don't know if you can hear me. Comrade, can you hear me? Okay, I think we have network issues with Comrade Monday today. Hello, Comrade. Okay, I'm seems to get across to Comrade. Now, so I've seen that time now. people are
Hello.
aggrieved. Talking about what I want to do is to put your audio on until you're ready to talk so we don't have echo. Since your fault. Comrade, can you hear me now? Okay, can we probably connecting to Comrade? But let me go back to the verbal. Now, appointment to some has been one-sided. This is termed as biased and unfair. We saw on the national daily yesterday, Ohaneze accusing the president and, of course, threatening to sue the president or drag the president to court because they only got uh, 5 minutes to respond. We saw also that Asari Dokubo did protest as well. Now, what's the way forward? What's the way forward?
Kessy, sorry, you are not very audible. I don't know whether you can take that question again so that I'll follow. You are not very audible. I don't know whether you can take that question again so
Oh,
that I'll follow.
okay, can you put your audio on maybe? Okay, can you put mute them when I finish talking? You can now unmute. Mute them when I finish talking. You can now unmute. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. So I've mute.
Okay. So I was saying that a lot of people are grieved. They are saying that the appointments so far are based on bias and being the president being unfair to them. Talking about your habits there on the national daily yesterday, and we saw Asari the did protest before that time. Now, what's your take on that? Because a lot of people are aggrieved as they stand. You can unmute now.
I think we start crying blue mother on issues that are very unnecessary. Oftentimes, everybody will cry that elections are obviously positions are not given to them. We cry on marginalization or cry on unhealthy distribution of position. But I want to plead very clearly and sincerely that the president has just taken what appointments are just trickling on now. He has attempted to distribute positions to a large. I don't think it's proper that we start for those who are already trying to hit the polity and talking about how it is very unfair in terms of distribution. Should please too early in the day. They should just relax the still room. There are too many appointments that have not been given. And so let's just cooperate and see that those that are given, the most important thing is that those that are given bring to us the desired dividends of democracy that we had voted for this government for. This is my take. I'm not one who is given to primordial sentiments. I don't welcome it. I'm not a primordial person who is very local on issues, thinking of issues to do with religion or to do with tribe. I must be very honest with you. You will never catch me discussing such things. But it means a lot to other people. And they have a right to have those things make me abroad. But I don't reason like one who has never been. For those who have been abroad and still come back again, start playing local politics and that of tribal and sentiments that are not very healthy. But today, when a Nigerian is given a position outside Nigeria, we celebrate and clap our hands, and we are so happy. We are not seeing anything wrong with that, but we are very centered here, making sure that people must not get things. I think it's very unfair and very, 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 very unacceptable. I think that we must make a change of attitude deliberately. I know that these things we are pushing on, the narrative we always love to push, we don't push it any longer and allow the people to these appointments to trickle on and allow the people who are given positions to deliver on the mandate and responsibilities. I think that's my sincere take.
Struggling so much to get a Comrade Monday to hear us. Comrade, can you hear me?
Hello, Kess.
Okay, you need to speak up, sir, so we can hear you very well. Hello, comrade.
Hello, Kess.
Okay, we can't hear you from this end, comrade. I don't know, your audio is very low. But let me talk to Honorable now. When we talk about democracy being the
Hello,
rule
Kessy.
of the majority, what happens to the minority?
Hello, Kess. Hello,
Can you
Kess. Are you
hear me,
there?
Honorable?
Now, what did you say? Please, can you go repeat it again, please?
I said, we say democracy is the rule of the majority. What becomes of the minority then?
I think minority also have a role to play. You also see as much as possible to see that you're being very strategic and very tactical in what you do, your approaches. I come from also a minority point of view. I'm from Benin. We're not one of the major tribes at the federal, at the national. Though in the state we're a major tribe where I come from. But we try as much as possible to play the game in a very calculated manner so that you don't go totally putting your eggs in one basket. You see that you distribute your potentials and your own prospects so that you don't lock up in one house, so that you have an even distribution of people who are also on the other side and on both sides, basically on both sides, so that you don't lose out totally. One thing about democracy is that for us to put our thinking cap, I say that we play along because you are basically going to come to the table with something. Now, what are you coming with? So we must be deliberate in what we are doing so that you don't shoot yourself on the foot. While you are doing this, you must be strategic, you must be tactical. You don't go out and make it look like as if it's actually something that is medically unacceptable. So it look you appropriate it in a manner that even if party A is not going to win, let it know that look, you had attempted to do this for both of them, but don't go one side and be giving percentages that are unhealthy. Any other person who feels tomorrow might not also run the package. So for those who are minority like us, we must see that we are aligned properly. We analyze every possibility possible and see that we play along. We must play along, basically. Can't go and form islands to ourselves. I expect that something will be given to us while we have formed our islands and we have refused to connect and run the things with every other person the way they are running. I feel that very strong. That is the way for those of us who are in the minority should play along with those who are in the majority. That's my take, basically.
And now, when we talk about President Tinubu victory within the electoral process, we also saw the tribunal process and, of course, the Supreme Court verdict. What do you think is how do you think this will impact or affect democracy in the future?
I think it's basically has shown that we need to have the right attitude. Mr. President actually has planned he's becoming president today. It's not an act of accident. He just didn't become president by default. He had planned this many years ago. Over 3 decades, he's been planning this. It is for us to understand that what you want to get tomorrow, you must be definite and be deliberate about it, and you plan it and purpose. Now, the president had made friends across the board from all parts of the country. He had made friends in the north, south, east, and west, and he
Okay, I think we have network issues there as well. Comrade Monday, can you hear me now? I would have really wanted Comrade to speak on this verdict issue, but network is not very pleasant today with from his hand. And so you were just saying something.
I was saying basically is that President Tinubu was deliberate about what he wanted, and he planned it over time, and he got the result. What we need to do moving forward is that for all of us who have desires, who have intentions of becoming what, you don't become that overnight. You plan it. You deliberately make moves. You reach out to people. You make friends across the board within your local area. Now, if you want a bigger picture, you know exactly how you're going to be doing it. You have bigger responsibility. For those who want to contest positions as local councillors and local government chair, you know how you need to network, and relate with the people so that on the day that you'll be needing their votes, it won't be too difficult for you. You won't be needing so much money. Mark you, at the point it became very obvious that President Tinubu will not have money again to win the election. But because of his goodwill with the people and his connection with the people, that came out better. And winning election became more easier for him than for those who had not had that kind of best of relationship with people. So basically, I think that for those who are interested in going into partisan politics and contestation, you should know that it is time for you to make friends before you desiring to go and contest election. Live a life of a people-centric life, and so that you have connect with people. Because it's human beings that are going to be working for you. If they have positive to say about you, be deliberate, be very, very deliberate about things, and so that tomorrow you will have a better situation and better testimony to give about yourself. And when books have been written, you fall on the right side.
Very well then, Comrade, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but I need you to speak up, Comrade, so that we can get to hear you very well. Though we're rounding up already. I'm so sorry about your network, but we look at the electoral process, the tribunal cases, and of course the verdict at the Supreme Court. And what's your take on this? Do you think following the process, following the duties, do you think it was verdict?
Yeah, talking about, can you hear me?
Go ahead,
Hello,
we can hear
Kessy?
you.
Yes. Okay,
We can
okay.
hear you,
Talking
sir.
about the judgment, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, talking about the verdict delivered yesterday by the Supreme Court on the presidential election or legal battle. Looking at what transpired in the election and the legal battle that took place, I would say that if you look around, uh, the judgment to an extent is fair. When I say it's fair, when I say it is fair, I mean that the judge was able, who read the judgment, having aggregated the views of other justices sitting on the same bench with him, he has been able to read out the position, brought in by all the appellants or all who applied uh, their prayers in the court. And you could see that the prayers
Okay. Again, we have a network issue. Uh, it's quite sad today that we can't get Comrade to speak because we already ran the show. Uh, so sorry, Comrade, but we just have to wrap up because of time. No, Comrade, hear me now. Okay, you still cannot hear us. Now, Honorable, let's talk about uh, the president did say in his speech yesterday that he has been doing even before the verdict, even before cases, the moment he has been doing. And then he called all to put hand on deck. And I believe that includes the opposition, that he's willing as a member of the family. I love that news. We are one family, just living in different rooms, but in the same apartment. Nigeria is the only country we have. That is the fact. Now, how realistic are you? Now, apart from UK, don't use UK as a case study. We already know what UK did and why he did that. But how optimistic are you that the president is going to carry the oppositions along just so if they are willing?
Yeah, Kessy, I think by now it should be very, very clear to even those who have been in the past doubted the president's sincerity and body efficacy. This is due to the fact that I guess you are aware of the fact that there's a serving minister where the president resides, which is the FCT minister, is being manned by a known opposition man. He's no less a person but Barrister Nyesom Ezinwa Wike, the former governor of Rivers State, who all of us know how vigorously he has been and very deliberate he had been against
But
the
Pastor, do you think that if Wike had got that ticket, Wike would have been the opposition for the president?
What did you say?
Did you think that if Wike had gotten that ticket in the first place, we will still be seeing the friendship, the president and the PC?
Well, basically, I didn't hear the last thing you said, but know for a fact that Wike is there because he's a member of the opposition. It is no gainsaying. You know it, and up to now, he has not changed his political affiliation. There have been cries against him.
And that
People,
is because of what is his having issues with the party. Even though he's still in PDP, we know what happened between Wike and Wiki Atiku, and of course the G5.
well, to me, it has not changed anything. The fact is that Wike deliberately gave three senators in PDP and House of Reps members numbering over six. I just want to be very modest. And then House of Assembly members that are PDP are also up to 20 in River State. So, and he made the governor as a PDP. So, if a man has gotten such a history, I don't know what again you'll be thinking that he's not there because of PDP. He's a PDP man and he's given up that position, and the president is fully aware of the fact he has not changed his affiliation. He's still a member of the People's Democratic Party. So know that the president is trying his own part, and so he yesterday when he made us every other people to come, we're in one house, we have a country to build together, and then people should come and join hands with him so that we'll move Nigeria forward. I think it's the right attitude. So I don't understand why anybody would be doubting. Let's come on and run the package together. That's the way I look at it.
Hello, comment. Yeah. Hello, comment.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, so talking about the
Can you hear?
president victory yesterday. Talking about the president victory yesterday.
Yeah. Basically, I was saying before the interruption of network, the judgment actually was a fair one to look at, considering the prayers of the other two candidates who were in court. If you look at the position or the judgment read by the court, it showed clearly that we were actually their first prayers were that the elections were not, was not credible. So if the elections were not credible and they could not prove beyond reasonable doubt, of course, there is no way the court will manufacture those facts in their favor. So that's one. Then two, if you look at some of them try to drift from the issues. They try to begin to bring in other issues like certificates and all that. Even at that, they couldn't still prove beyond reasonable doubt. However, I am not a judge or I am not a lawyer in that matter, but Nigeria must move forward. We cannot continue to remain on the same issue continuously while the masses are not faring well, because the person who has been elected by them into the public office to serve them is being distracted on a daily basis on a matter of appearing before the court. It is if a particular political party or candidate don't win an election at a time, it does not mean it cannot win tomorrow. So all it needs to do is to go back go back to the drawing board and put and see how they can correct their mistake. If you check, PDP in the past had so many issues between Wike and Atiku and the likes. So, with such issues and such divisions, Obi left PDP. Wike himself was in PDP and worked for Tinubu. So what do you expect? A house that is divided against itself cannot stand. So, hello?
I can hear you, sir.
Hello?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear
Hello?
you. We can hear you,
Hello?
sir.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead. Okay,
Hello,
I think network issues again. Okay. I want to thank this new thank Honorable Rex, thank you, Yado, for being on the show. I know taking your time, but we have to let you go now because of another appointment. Well, thank you so much, Honorable, for being on the show. Hopefully, we'll have you again on the show next time.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers. Sorry, Honorable Monday. Sorry, Honorable Monday.
thank you. Good afternoon. I feel so bad that my network didn't allow me to be part of
Yes,
this,
I wanted to of you to actually have this discussion together. Yes, I wanted to know if that's what there. We'll see you again next time, Honorable.
Thank you, viewers.
Thank you very much, Kessy.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kessy.
That's all we can do today on the show, the weekly bulletin. I actually wanted to have Comrade Monday. We have as a lecturer, I wanted to talk to him on some, very serious issues happening across our institutions. But we can see the network is not friendly enough. Hopefully, if you I promise, because of course I had to put out this flyer and people were jubilating Comrade Monday coming on board. I promise to bring Comrade Monday back next week. Maybe Mondays are valuable for us, so we can discuss the issues regarding institutions in Nigeria. I remember Princess Kessy from our SRE here in London. I'll see you again on the show next week. It's Friday. You're at the stay peaceful with your neighbor. Please do not drink and drive. I'll see you again next week.
Are you a filmmaker in Abuja and its environ? Do you need a place for your music video, or you need a venue for your conference and even an editing suite for your post-production? Look no further. Our beautiful turret in Lokugoma has it all. We have a whole floor that consists of 3-angle lounge, a beautiful dining area, a large kitchen, a conference area that can comfortably accommodate 60 persons, and 5-bedroom adaptable for all kinds of shoots. The good news is all is available at affordable price. And you know what? If you are a member of the Association of Movie Producers of Nigeria, you have 20% discount. So what are you waiting for? Hurry and contact us on the numbers on your screen now. Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the street.